Hey, what's happening with y'all, Real 16 TV? I got a quick little story time for y'all. So, just to give y'all some depth before I get into it, I really, actually, it's more of a topic about survival mode and like you can't really be eating around other people because then they start being like, well, shoot, what's on your plate? And then, like, shoot, and then you can't have too much faith in people. So, we're gonna call it a story about that. Basically, Cuzzo, Omar, whatever you want to call me. I prefer Cuzzo. I ain't gonna lie, I got used to it now. But a long time ago, I used to live with my aunt and stuff like that. I had got in trouble when I was younger for getting top on the auditorium stage or whatever, and so my aunt knew how my mom was and stuff, which plays a good part in the story because me and my mom we didn't really get along, but we kind of get along. It's hard to explain, but she knew how my mom was, and she was basically like, shoot, instead of you going, instead of you telling your mom you can walk over here to your aunt's every day and just kick it here instead of going to school. I was like, all right, bet. So when it got time to go to school or whatever, every day, instead of me hitting the school bus like I told my mom, I would basically keep it strutting all the way to my aunt's house, pew, and be kicking it over there all day or whatever. Well, so then I lived with them, right? And I had a RA situation over there. It wasn't bad, you know what I'm saying? My aunts and them always kept stuff. They had moved into a new house while I was there, type of thing. So I used to live in a pretty decent little 4 bedroom house. It was nice, you know what I'm saying? It made the people around me. I ain't gonna lie. I think that my trajectory, like the way I was going, was way more far upward than it is right now. Just because it seemed like everybody was behind me the way they talked about it, at least. And so uh, I lived there them 2 years, blah blah blah. Skip that. They basically told me I had a year. I had a year to get out after I graduated high school, which is crazy because statistically, all black families tell their kids they got to get out immediately when they turn 18. It's weird. That's a real statistic. But they told me I basically had to go. Plus, my aunt Tita, she used to claim she was tired of us all the time. But now that I'm older, I know that's not true because that's the aunt that fucks with me the hardest right now, to be honest. So I know that's not true. But basically, we uh, we had to go. So I used to have bad like feelings about everybody. But like I went over to my other aunt. Her name Tracy's chill lady. I had an uncle named Putter. He's a bitch. Uh, but basically, he basically would he basically was some of the crank to the bad stuff I was doing. Like I probably would have only been like, not to be negative, probably trying to take some stuff or something like that. If it wasn't for him, he kind of was giving me packages and all this stuff and making sure I was getting productive with my time per se. So I was living with them, and you know what I'm saying, everything that's sweet eventually turned bitter. I was chilling. I used to have to work at a cemetery, so my aunt lived across the street from the cemetery. My uncle had got me the job before I left high school. She like literally across the street. So whatever street y'all look on, go look out the window, look at the house next door, cemetery, right? I used to cut the grass, bury people, cremate people. Yes, I was to sweat people's bones out, grind them in the ashes, put your shit in the box. That was me. And so that got hella depressing. But during the time period, I quit going to school, and I'll elaborate on that more in a different story about the reasons why I quit going to school and all that stuff. But basically, I was trying to get to some money. Well, when you start trying to get to some money after a while, instead of them being like, shoot, nephew, let's help you find a crib. That way you can get out here in the world on your own type of stuff. They like, us two grown ass people need you to pay $350 on our rent, right? And and it's not like they was wrong for that. It's just like no warning. There ain't nobody trying to teach me how to get my own things. There ain't nobody teaching me about credit. I had to figure that out. Ain't nobody taught me how to get into an apartment. Hell, they promised that they was gonna get me out of jail every time I went to jail. Nobody has ever came. My uncle came one time and I didn't need him. That time I was good. So it was just crazy. But yeah, we had a situation at the house one time where I used to take my aunt's her bills for her. And so she gave me her bills, and she would come upstairs, give me her bills. I would go outside. There used to be a price cutter. I would go to the price cutter, give them the amount, tell them the amount that she said, basically, and then they would be like, cool. But me and my uncle both said it was a terrible idea, because if anything ever went wrong, you can use me as a scapegoat. And this is also why this is a survival moment too, because this is how I truly felt about this. I don't feel this way today. Well, I still do, but it's whatever. And it was only $60 in the envelope. I get to the price cutter dude. I'm like, hey, there's only $60 in the envelope. My fault. I'm stuttering. I give him the envelope. He opened it. He goes, hey, there's only $60 in here. I'm like, damn, there's only $60 in there. I'm like, well, shoot, that must be what she won on there. I get back to the house. I'm like, hey, so there was only $60 in that envelope. She goes, no, there wasn't. There's supposed to be $140 in that envelope. I'm like, well, tell that to the price cutter dude, because I ain't touched nothing but the envelope. It stayed sealed. Drove there, gave him the money, right? Now, they don't believe me so bad that my uncle shoots up to the price cutters, right? And when he gets to the price cutters, he asks what happened. He said, yes, a young boy did come in here earlier to pay that bill. He gave me an envelope. I opened it. There was $60 in there. And this is what the cashier said. He said, the young boy said, damn, there's only $60 in there? Oh, okay. Well, that must be what she wanted. The cashier repeated what I said. But when I got to the house, they was like, you must have took some money out or something like that. They was like, they basically, when people do that thing where they're not trying to say it's your fault, but it's your fault. I don't play that. So at this rate, I'm like, I'm finna move out. But I moved to my mom's. Now, I should have moved to my mom's in the first place, but like I said, me and my mom just don't get along. We have a mindset that's semi-similar. I just feel like I'm more advanced with, like, how I look at stuff just because I was born after her, so I can see what she does, and I can angle around stuff a little better. My mom's very stern about her beliefs. Well, I went to go kick it with my mom, and this is where we get into the funny part, because this is really the story I'm trying to tell. So basically, I get to my mom's house or whatever. I get to I was like, hey, so how you want me to pay bills? She didn't really know. She's like, oh, you're my son. You don't even have to worry about it. Blah, blah, blah. A whole bunch of shit that wasn't true. Love you to death if you watch this. But a whole bunch of shit that wasn't true. And I got messages and all that stuff to prove it. And if I want to be an asshole, they might come up in here. But basically, I was like, all right, shoot, I'll give you like a G a day. Because my mom really liked to smoke. She's a scavenger smoker. Like, she like Snoop Dogg from that video. What's that movie? The movie with Dave Chappelle, y'all know what I'm talking about, Mr. Nice Guys. She, like the dude from Mr. Nice Guys, basically Snoop Dogg from Mr. Nice Guys. She smoked she smoked with all my friends. It didn't matter, and I'm not condoning this at all, but I'm just saying my mom's a big, like, she might as well be Wiz Khalifa or Bob Marley. So she loves that. And she would basically, I was like, I'll give you a G day, right, Mom? She's like, okay. So I told her I'm gonna go ahead and give her a G of smoke a day. And she was like, cool. So 3 months have passed, blah, blah, blah. And one day she was like, hey, son, I'm gonna need a little help with the money. I'm like, shoot, if you need some help with some money, these 3 months of G's I was giving you a day, you should have just let me sell that instead of you bugging me for like stuff. But the point of me telling you all that is for this. So a long time ago, I'm on this couch. I had to live on the couch, mind you, so I ain't paying no rent. If I gotta sleep on the couch, I don't care. I ain't paying no rent. I had to sleep on my mom's couch, right? And like, I must have been asleep, head sideways, eyes closed. I'm chilling, and like, it's like 3 a.m. I got this thing where like my eyes just flash open. Like if I feel something, my eyes just open. Like I can't help it. And like I must have been chilling there, and like I feel something, so my eyes open, and I'm looking my mom in the eyes as she's trying to grab this sack of I stuffed underneath the couch. Like I used to stuff the sack under the couch, right? My sack I used to stuff it right here under the couch or whatever. 3 a.m. Imagine you open your eyes and you looking at your mom, and she like this right now, like with her hand under her, and you looking her dead in her eyes, and you like, what you doing? And she like, oh, I thought I dropped my lighter under here, my fault. and she go back in the room immediately. Not no continue to look. Immediately back to the room like pew. I'm like, what the hell? And then on top of that, she was gonna ask me for some money. So then when that happened or whatever, we get into an argument. I'm like, Mom, I'll sleep in the car. And I did. For a month after that, I slept in my car, my homie Kiki's, the homie Marcus's, and for that whole month, at the end of the month, I got an apartment. So the real moral of the story is, instead of us doing all this bullshit that led up to the apartment, somebody should have just taught me how to get an apartment so I wouldn't have been in nobody's hair. But that should show you, ain't nobody trying to teach y'all nothing. So you got to get out there and learn that shit yourself. Whether it be the hard way or the smooth way, nobody give a fuck. I just named 5 or 6 people that's supposed to be my elders. And mind you, 3 or 4 of them got cool ass jobs. Not 3 or 4 of them. 2 of them got cool jobs. You know what I'm saying? 2 of them do their thing. The rest of them might be a little on bullshit. But my point is, everybody done been an adult for years. They could have gave you all types of information. But some people, parents, don't got that information, bro. So you're going to have to go get that shit yourself or get left out. Because everybody else out here getting to it. They getting to that chicken. They getting to that bread, dog. And I know I told you a detailed story for it to end like this, but survival mode is for real. Like, everybody at every corner, from getting kicked out of my house for my aunt's comfortability to going to my other aunt's house, and then when they was low on some bread, they set me up for failure, like, oh, he must have took the bread type of thing, like, whatever. And I mushed my uncle for that, just throwing that out there. I mushed the shit out of him, and I hope he watches it, just saying. But like, from that to my mom, like, my mom we was all good until the nitty gritty hit. Then she needed some bread. So instead of us all working together in the first place, y'all wait till I start getting a chance to get out of the way, and then we do the crab in the bucket, which is what they did. So you got to just stay on your own grind and get your mind right, because anybody that sees that you get into it, they gonna all of a sudden ask you for something. Just remember that. Holler at me, Real 16 TV. And check this out. If you actually watch this to the end, I'm about to have an idle time come out here in a couple of days. Look, anybody that watches this to the end, comment in this bitch that you really watched it to the end. And next week, I'm going to smoke a blunt with you. I'm gonna go to the dispo, get some cookies. If you around me and you comment, I'm going to come smoke with you, okay? Fuck with me. Like and subscribe, all that.